thank you for coming to the session. And welcome to the show and tell session powered by the Immigrant Project. I'm Vinay. I'll be the co-host for today's session, and also I'm the co-founder of the project. And I'm very glad that we have Karishma Shah today with us, who is also the product manager at Microsoft. Now, before we start our interaction with Karishma Shah, let me give you a brief introduction about the project. So the Immigrant Project is about, the mission of the project is about empowering immigrants in the US to get their first professional job. Now, when I say first professional job, it might be an internship, co-op, or a full-time experience. To help you with this, we provide effective tools. We also give you meaningful connections, and we have a team to provide you these. And let's see. Yeah, so we have a diverse team across the world. We have Apurva from the US. We have Surbi from Denver. That's me, Vinay from India. We have Aishwarya from Pittsburgh, and also Brahmi, who would also be the co-host from now. She's from Seattle. And let's get ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead. So Brahmi, over to you.
Thanks, Vinay. Hey guys, I'm Brahmi. I'll be your co-host for this evening. And this will be casual conversation with Karishma. I'll be asking a bunch of questions. She'll be giving a bunch of answers. And then, I'm going to provide you a brief overview of the session. So basically, we'll start with her background, and then we'll look through the transition that she has made from being an engineer to a product manager, and then her path to getting a job in Microsoft. Eventually, we'll explore some technical skills, soft skills. And at the end of the session, we will end up reviewing the CVs, as you all guys know. With that, a little bit about Karishma's background. She has a very interesting background for a product manager, honestly. She started, aspiring to be an astronaut when she was younger, and then she went ahead, got a computer science undergrad, and became a software engineer. Now, at this stage, I'm sure many of us can empathize with wanting to do more than being a software engineer, right? So she went ahead and became an entrepreneur, and eventually came to Carnegie Mellon, and then got a master's degree and got placed. With that, I'm curious to explore her transition from being an engineer to a product manager. Karishma, it will be great if you can give some insights there.
Hey guys, sure. Thanks for the introduction, Brahmi. That was very cool. To your question, an easy answer would be to say that I was just not a very good programmer. I realized that too late. But it's while doing this programming job that I learned how engineers think and act, the kinds of problems that they face and how they solve it. These are the questions that you see on your left, which I was doing as an engineer, trying to solve these questions. But I was exposed to the business side of these questions during my entrepreneurial journey. And I was posed with more product questions that you see on the right. And I figured out I can do better as a product manager, trying to find the right problems to solve, driving decisions towards a more effective solution, which has more customer focus, and ensuring that these solutions are making an impact.
That's great. So now that you've got the motivation to move from being an engineer to a product manager, how did you land this coveted job at Microsoft? Do you have like a secret sauce for this?
There was no secret sauce, really. That's a myth. I was rejected by a lot of companies, including startups and some tech giant corporates, before I got my first job at Microsoft. At Microsoft, I had a very good friend working who referred me here. And so I got a chance to get my resume noticed by the recruiter. After that, I just followed the recruitment process. That's when I realized that these hiring decisions are mostly about the fitness for the role, and they are not so much about perfecting the process. That's why rather than taking these rejections personally, I would recommend to just find the right job, which objectively matches your skills and qualifications, and then just go all in for it.
Great. So you're actually basically telling me there's no secret sauce, there's no recipe, and that we have to do a lot of hard work. Great. Okay. I want to understand a little bit about the technical skills, right? Your current role seems to be a very technical role in itself. Can you elaborate a little bit on what skills you need, what skills you probably acquired during your master's?
Sure. my current job has evolved a lot since I first joined about 2.5 years ago. The most important technical skills required to do my job are listed here, as you can see. However, these are very subjective to the specific team and position you're applying to. So right now I work in a platform team that owns a large-scale distributed system and data infrastructure, which is used for building intelligent apps and services in the Office group. And that's why to work in this role, these technical skills around distributed systems, analytics, and so on are critical for me.
Okay, so what courses did you acquire at Carnegie Mellon again? Did you learn all those courses at Carnegie Mellon, or were you practicing more?
Not all of them. I learned many things on the job. The courses that you saw earlier, those are which I learned at Carnegie Mellon. But also, my background in software engineering and programming helped.
Great. Now, how did you show these skills on your resume? You know, like as a graduate student, when you first have a resume, I'm sure it's in a different format. And when you want to apply for a job, I'm pretty sure it was different. So I want to explore first, how did you structure your resume? To how did you show these skills on your resume?
Sure. So as you can see, the CV on the left is my old CV, which had a different purpose. And the CV on the right is my new CV, which I used while applying to Microsoft. Aesthetically, both are boring equally, except for the content and brevity, which I mastered over time. And take it with a pinch of salt, because it is not a hardcore format for the CV. Now, my recommendation is to customize your CV for every job, depending on the skills and experience required for it. It is time consuming and it get cumbersome, but as in when you iterate for some minor changes here and there, you repeat this process over a time period, and it brings more clarity about what format works best for you.
Okay. What specific PM skills did you put in your resume? You know, I'm talking from a standpoint of a project you did or the way you spoke about a project. I think it would be useful.
Yeah. Again, highly depends on the job description. We have somebody who has worked in sustainability and building construction. So I'm sure this entire CV is completely irrelevant for that person. But I can tell what my job description required and what relevant accomplishments I had put in my resume. My job required somebody with an entrepreneurial exposure, a product mindset, some analytical skills, some programming experience, some design chops, and a bit of interest in consulting. So I included all of those major skills, projects, courses, and achievements that will strengthen my candidacy for this job. Anything which doesn't make sense for this job, I would deprioritize it or just cut it out from the resume.
Okay, so you're saying it's very job specific, really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Now, I cannot leave you without asking you this question. What are the absolute do not do's on your resume? Like, what should we never do on a PM resume?
The two most important thumb rules I tell everyone is do not fake and do not elaborate in your resume. You know, just specify what you did in fact, not just what your team has done, but what you have done in a very precise and concise way. You can briefly mention how you did it and what was the result of it in a sentence, but it should not become a paragraph. Summarize to make it compact and emphasize only the most important skills for the job. This is something you might remember about resumes. Think of your resume like a list of catchy headlines. You know, they should not be very revealing the entire whole story. Make the recruiter curious to know more about you. And to do that, they'll have to give you a call. Right?
That is very insightful, honestly. I think now you drilled this point to the entire audience here. Okay, great. Moving on. When you were trying to interview with Microsoft, right? Did you have situations where you were given a problem and you were asked to solve a problem? If so, what did you approach it with? Kind of what did you use to solve that problem?
Yeah. So in this role, generally as a PM, you'll be solving a lot of problems. So problem solving is the most important skill. You'll be dealing with a lot of ambiguities and vague requirements, changing every now and then, and always in need of clarity for communicating your ideas. Now, in order to do that effectively, you should learn to develop and follow frameworks. I cannot emphasize anymore the importance of organizing through frameworks in a PM's life. So much that, if nothing else, you should absolutely remember this from our session today. Here's an example in the slide that you see of a product design question that I was asked in my interview at Microsoft. The interviewer just asked me to design a vending machine. So I laid out all this framework, a list of questions that you see on the right, and addressed each question one by one interactively. Okay. After I was done concluding my recommendation for the solution, the interviewer threw a curveball at me and asked me to make the final solution accessible for a blind person. Now, in my head, I was face palming myself, thinking, why I did not even think about this earlier? I mean, I knew I had researched about Microsoft. I knew that it's big time into accessibility. And I should have just asked earlier to clarify whether the solution should have any special features for accessibility. So the takeaway from my experience, the first question asked by the interviewer is always intentionally vague. It's your job to reduce the ambiguities. It's your job to clarify the questions before deciding a framework so that you can accommodate corner cases and exceptions whenever there is a change of expectations so that you can design a more practical solution. Do not take for granted, that said, do not take for granted some important soft skills like listening more before you speak, receiving critical feedback to improvise, documenting everything, and giving credit to others.
I think you touched upon a very interesting topic here, right? Soft skills. People more often than not, when they try to apply to these jobs, they just kind of look at the technical stuff and they forget the soft skill and how the nuance is really playing into they getting a job. So I'm sure this is really useful. Now, why were you hired, Karishma? Why were you really hired? Like, did you have these hacks up your sleeve or a checklist that you just said and went, what, check, I'm going to get a job? What did you do?
Again, no secret sauce here. One thing that helped me the most was connecting with everyone everywhere. Now, connecting with your peers, your speakers, your recruiters, your professors at events like hackathons and meetups and workshops, online as well as offline. The biggest thing that worked for me was networking, and not just random networking. It was more meaningful networking. And you do that if you start early. You have to do it right away. Let's say you meet somebody new and interesting somewhere, just connect them right away in LinkedIn before they forget you. It's because in this world of short attention span, LinkedIn is also like a dating app, just without the benefits of a swipe. You have to keep it updated and personalize your connect requests with a specific note. You have to research well about the work and the company of the person that you're connecting to. Ask them good, intelligent questions about the job role you're interested in before you request a referral.
Great. Now, referral. You mentioned that, your friend sort of referred you, right? So is this also tying back to the earlier suggestions that you made about connect?
Yes, it does. I was lucky to have a strong recommendation from a very good friend of mine, but not everybody has good friends everywhere to do that. So how do you find a person who does not know you to get you the referral? The first thing here, do not jump to the referral right away on your first call with them. Try to build a relationship with them first. Study their profile to see if you have common interests or background. If you are in the same city, ask for meeting in person. There's nothing wrong in asking. Build a good relationship first. It's very critical to getting a good recommendation because it's another one-liner from me. A strong recommendation is 100 times better than 10 weak referrals.
Karishma, you're killing this evening with these one-liners. I hope everybody's making a note of these one-liners. Okay, great. Moving on. I'm sure, we all went through the phase where we attended career fair. We know the drill, right? We show up at career fair, try to be important in front of these people and try to make our first step there. The thing that kind of occurs to me every time when people talk about career fair is the pitching, right? Like you need to have this short pitch, but then you have a lot of things in your mind. So how do you approach pitching from a standpoint of a career fair, from a standpoint of a LinkedIn email or a recruiter, any of these?
Yeah, one good way, like just how you will have a master resume and you edit it out based on the job. Similarly, have a master pitch and edit it out based on the context. Customize it every time. To keep it handy, carry the pitch in a note card to the career fair, and then pick out your stories based on the company that you're talking to, based on the kind of conversation you are having with the recruiter. If your job is technical, pick technical stories. If the recruiter is just enjoying small talk, pep talk, just keep it light and casual. Now, if the company is a startup, then share stories where you took a risk. In my pitch, as you can see here, I would always brag about my background in computer science and engineering, my startup experience, and try to show that I have a product mindset.
I really love this slide. I think it's almost like a notepad edit of everything that you ever did, and you can just cut and paste these real quick to respond. Great. Thanks a lot, Karishma. With that, I am going to turn it over to Vinay again, and he will take you guys through the rest of the segment.
Hey, thanks, Rami, and thanks, Karishma, for all those useful insights. And hoping that students have made a note of that. Now, I think we are moving into the next exciting part of the session where we're taking your questions, and also we'll walk through a few resumes that people have shared with us. And thanks to those who have trusted us and shared the resumes with us. Okay. In the meanwhile, while we pull up the resumes, I think you can add in your questions in the chat window so that we can pick up those questions. Okay, so we have a resume shared from Andy. So Karishma, do you have any quick suggestions on this resume?
Yeah, I reviewed this resume and it is good. I mean, a lot of technical expertise here that I'm seeing, but it's too long. I hope this is not the final version for a job. It is more like a master resume. Is Andy the person whose resume is also on this call? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's in the call today, but I think this would be a good example for us to know what are the do's and don'ts. And I'm pretty sure, like it's visible to me that there are a lot of technical points that the person has put in here. And I think there's an exhaustive list of the projects that he's worked on. And I think he's mentioned all the projects he's worked in a specific company as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think Andy is on the call. Andy, you can actually share if you want to, or we can move on to somebody else.
Yeah, I'm fine. So okay. A quick glance, my feedback here is keep it short, reduce the number of bullets, condense it into summaries, single sentences as much as possible. The technical skills section has a lot of acronyms, many of which may not be understandable to the recruiter. So only list the most relevant ones. There are a lot of certifications and courses. There is an entire section dedicated to it. So just pick the most difficult one or the most important one. Again, industry experience, I see like for each client, there are a list of responsibilities. You don't need that. You can summarize it company wise, unless you're applying to a job which is more like consulting or something where you need to elaborate on everything. So condense a list of bullets. Can you scroll?
Also, Karishma, is there a preference to a one-page resume or a three-page resume? There's some criteria like that.
Yeah, one page, strictly one page. Keep it one page, short. I mean, there might be some jobs where it is okay, but the first impression should not be overloading your reviewer of the resume.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And if you're there, I mean, you could also ask specific questions, or we're moving on to the next resume. Okay, I think we can go to the next resume now. Okay, cool. Thanks, Swapnil. Thanks for sharing your resume. Karishma, did you have a chance to go through this resume, or are there any quick insights that you want to share with us?
Yes, sure. So Swapnil, this looks good. I mean, you have a lot of accomplishments which are related to product management. Okay.
Yeah.
And it is good to show them. I would recommend on decreasing the like separate it out, right? Like there are a lot of positions that you had, right? Data analytics, graduate research assistant. It looks like too dense. You can maybe create separate tabs for each of them and highlight the main gist of that experience in the first bullet, and then drill down further. For example, your Cape Gemini experience, the most important bullet would be you made some 22% improvement in cash flow cycles.
Yeah.
So, that sounds like a big achievement, so it should be on the top and not hidden somewhere where it's hard to find.
Okay.
Right. Any achievement where you got a very big result and you can quantify it, put it at the top.
Okay. And one more question I have, like as a hiring manager, what are things you look in the resume?
Yes, so the PM skills that we were discussing earlier about things like where you design an end-to-end product from ideation to shipping and delivery. Things where you improvised on an existing product,
Okay.
where the improvement was big enough. Even if it is small, it's fine. But if you have quantifiable metric, that's good. Data-driven aptitude and some technical background will help if you're applying to such a job. So put the technical skills. You have put it there, so you're good. The tools also you have put there, so you're good. Project management related experience where maybe you managed a team of anything, like you led a team or something, or you saw through the project. It will work in your favor.
Okay. Thanks, Karishma.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Swapnil. Can we move on to the next resume, please?
Are you able to look at Jima's CV?
Not yet, Apurva.
Not yet.
Yeah. Also, Karishma, I have a question. So, is there a specific format? Like I remember many of these previous hosts are talking about using a star format, like situation, task, action, and result. Is there a preference for a particular format in each of these descriptions that we give out in the resume?
So yeah, that's a good format, but not for the resume. For resume, if you want to get some guidance, there is this website called careercup.com. which lays out the template of how you should write your resume for a product management job. Definitely check it out, and I also put it there in one of our online resources tab in the slide deck.
Yeah, in the slide deck, right? Yeah.
Yes. You can follow that
Okay.
forward.
Sure, Karishma. Yeah. So we have Zima's resume here, and thanks, Zima, putting this up. Karishma, do you have any quick insights on this before Zima can ask specific questions on this?
Sure. This one is a good resume, honestly. I mean, I couldn't find any major changes required here. So, you have listed out the courses and your projects in your degree programs, and you also explain the projects. One really highlighter here is you have product management experience actually. So you're not a fresher in this job. You do have some experience. So leverage that. So what I would recommend is try to put it at the top, right? I mean, you can apply for lateral jobs as well, not only entry level jobs, because you have product management experience. So find the right job which will match up your profile fitness. I mean, don't short sell yourself. That's what I mean.
So I have a question there only regarding the lateral jobs. So I spoke to a couple of people at Microsoft, specifically, even Google. What they suggested me was to apply for the grad jobs, but when I applied, they preferred MBA, US MBA degree, whereas I have an Indian MBA degree. Here I'm doing a master's, which is like a cherry on the top for my MBA, and a level deeper to go into program management or product management. So that was the entire rationale to join a master's over here. So that is the first hurdle that I faced while applying for grad roles. And now I was in talks with a couple of people for laterals. So now they are saying that since you're a student and currently you're not graduated, you won't be in the pipeline of the lateral. You will be pushed to the university recruiting, and that's a different pipeline altogether. But then my argument is that only, like, I have a relevant experience and I have like 4 years of relevant experience. So why can't you just consider me for an industry role? And if there is a separate process for that. So I don't know how to go about it, applying for the industry roles, because that's the challenge I'm facing. And especially one hiring manager from Microsoft only told me this thing, like he was not sure whether the recruiter will shortlist me for a lateral role, since currently I'm a student, even though I have a relevant experience.
I see. Yeah, I understand. It could be a challenge. Even I face the same. I had some previous experience in product, but still I had to go to the student channel. I was just lucky to get a referral off campus, and that's why I got hired. But I was still hired as a grad student. So in this case, you can flip it. Instead of pitching yourself as a lateral, pitch yourself as a grad hire, but then leverage your experience to get a competitive edge over the other candidates. That's what we leverage now. Like, apply for the grad roles. You can definitely negotiate on the levels that you want once you are into the channel, but to get your foot in the door, leverage your experience in entry level roles.
Okay. So that's what exactly I did. Like, I applied for grad role. I even received a call from the recruiter, but I think she was mistaken. I mean, this happened with Google and Microsoft. And surprisingly, like, they were like, oh, we didn't know that you're not pursuing an MBA, you're pursuing a master's. This pipeline is only for an MBA student. I'm like, okay, I already have one. So why can't you just consider my previous experience and my academics? And this is like, going one level deeper into PM. That's what it is for. So why can't you consider me for this role? But they're like, no, we have a strict rules to follow. So I'm like, fine, I can't do anything right now. I mean, obviously there are limitations over there.
Yeah,
so
widen your scope of applications. Like,
Pardon?
widen your scope of applications. Like, in a day, just don't limit yourself to tech giants. There are so many companies out there.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Hope you find it. Good luck with that.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ima, and it's very interesting to know that your strengths play against you sometimes. So wish you all the best. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Before we move on to other questions now, I think we have a question from Andy. I think that was the first resume we reviewed, Karishma. And Andy is unable to talk now because he's in a transit. But his question was on like I have applied for a lot of jobs, but I feel quite turned down whenever whenever the question of sponsorship comes up.
Yeah, story of our lives, right? So it is tough. I mean, you cannot argue with that. If a company is not ready to sponsor, you cannot argue with that. You just have to gotta look for other company who will. I mean, that comes first. As I said, if this is your first job in a new country, you have just graduated, you have to maybe pay off some tuition debt. So what is more important for you? I mean, your status, or your first job title? I mean, I went for something which will provide me the stability and the security first, so that I can work for at least a couple of years. So I went with a company which will give me the visa, and then I will take the risk of working for a startup or something. Microsoft was generous enough. I mean, usually Microsoft and companies like Microsoft are open for sponsorships. So I accepted it. But I started looking for jobs in startup, and I was rejected by a lot of them for the same reason. So don't lose hope. Go for the big ones who are ready to sponsor, and then strategize your next career move once you have it.
Okay, cool. So those were the 3 resumes that we got reviewed. And so before we move, I think we'll move on to the other section of questions that the participants have given. I mean, have asked us now. And keep asking those questions, guys, who have any particular things to discuss with Karishma now. So I'll go with the first question that we got. This is from Chintan. Chintan says he's a mid-level software engineer and he's thinking to switch his career to become a program or a product manager. What are the list of things that he should start preparing with? I think this is a question to a wider audience, Karishma.
I think you have come to the right place. This is a good place to start, Chintan. I think that's what this team is trying to help with. Things like your first job, your first career switch into something which you're not aware of, as somebody from a different culture in the company. For product management and program management, start with so if you are really into it and you want to make your career as a successful product manager, start with the job descriptions in the market now, which you want to aim for, and pick out these job descriptions that you'll be happy working in, and from them filter out the skills and the qualifications that you are right now missing in your resume, basically in your track record, and then work on them, because this is a very subjective job. There is no perfect recipe for it. It's all depending on what the recruiter and what the hiring manager wants in that candidate. It keeps changing. The definition of the job itself keeps changing with team, with time, with location, with the company. So start with your dream job as a product manager, and create a roadmap for the knowledge and the skills and the experience that you need to fill in the gaps.
Sure. Okay. Thanks, Karishma.
Yeah, thanks, Chintan, for that question. I think a lot of us are also trying to transition into product management roles, and that was a very relevant question that you've put up there. Now we have another question from Akanksha. Okay, this is a very interesting question. What is the difference between program manager role and product manager role in Microsoft? Are they used interchangeably sometimes?
There is the product managers are program managers in Microsoft. meaning that we don't have a separate title for product manager. And Microsoft was one of the pioneers of the program management roles. So it's the same, just that in Microsoft, they are more technical than in a company like Amazon, where product managers are required to have MBA. So they are more on the business end. And they also have technical product managers, which is similar to the program manager role in Microsoft. But again, highly specific to the team. I know some program management roles in Microsoft, which are which are not even technical. They are more into communicating with the community of their customers and doing events and connecting with their customers, and they do not have to do any technical work. So it highly depends on the team and the kind of work and the kind of product that the team owns.
Well, that's interesting, Karishma. So in that case, like, wow, what is the level of business skills that they would look out for a person coming from technical background, and the other way around? Is there a fine balance for that they look out for, or like how do you estimate that while you're applying?
Dealing with people, that kind of experience always helps. Like if you have a project management experience or a people management experience, that will always help. On the business side, if you have done some kind of if you have done some course on in the business school, let's say like something like financial accounting or something, or marketing, that will also work in your favor. That will show that you know the other end of the spectrum as well.
Sorry, I think adding to that, Karishma, I think there's another question related to this from Nircher. The question is about, for a transition from program manager to product or to a product manager, in order to show the technical skill set, what are the best options? He says that I've heard these cite during HR calls when they come to know that I'm not using my technical skills during my regular job role. That's an interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, if you are applying to a PM role for a technical product, then they expect you to have some in-depth knowledge about the inner workings and the mechanisms of how the product was built and developed and delivered. But it should not be a barrier to you. I mean, this is Nirja, right? I mean, you have studied in CMU, the MISM program, which is highly technical. So, and you have done so many technical projects there. So you have the technical skills. I mean, sell them that you know the stuff, and call it out that this is the chicken and egg problem that you're putting me into. I just need a chance, because that's what I want to do. What you have to tell them is this is the project management which is I'm doing, and it is going to be a big contribution to this job that I'm applying to, but it overlaps with my interest, which I don't have right now, but I want to do working in this job. Try to create this picture in your words. I know it's very very easier said than done. There is no secret sauce or recipe here. But I think you might have to change the way you sell your technical skills and knowledge, because you have it.
Oh, interesting, Karishma. I think so far we spoke of people who are trying to transition into product management roles and those who have had the previous work experience. And also we spoke of people who have the experience in product management and trying to get a foot in the industry now. But I'm also interested to know, like, what about people who are fresh graduates with no prior experience, no prior professional experience? What about them? Like somebody who's aspiring from that background, like what would be the things that you would suggest to them?
So I would assume that, let's say you are still in the grad school studying, and you have a few more months. If you have time, like pick out the courses which will give you some project exposure or academic exposure where you are able to deliver end to end, design a product from scratch, or design an application, a mobile app, or a service, anything, ideate it, and then you are able to release it or deliver it like a prototype or something. And such kind of even if it is academic level, it will still be helpful, because even when I can share one of my personal stories, right? In one of my interviews, uh, one of the interviewers just picked out one of my academic projects and asked me about it. It was, I guess, around user experience, and I was glad that I put it there, even though if it was academic, because they were trying to gauge if I have user experience skills, because they needed somebody with those for the job. So you never know. I mean, I'm not a professional UX designer, but I did one course, and that helped me.
Great. I think now you spoke of the switch from you being a UX designer to product management. I think Naishi also has the same question, like how does a person from UX switch to product management? I hope a few of things that Karishma so far said has answered that question. Or Karishma, do you have any other specific questions, specific insights to share on that?
On this UX switch to product management, I mean, you have a pretty good background. Like coming from a design background, you already have that design mindset, which is right now a skill in demand. And you might have used design thinking frameworks, so you also have the framework structure theoretically, if you meant that you have UX degree. If you're already working as a UX designer, then probably you might be working with the product managers in your workplace as well. So reach out to them and see if you can make the switch yourself, in your team, in your company itself. That's the best place to start with that switch.
Okay, so now that you spoke of a lot of things, Karishma, including a particular thing about data privacy, I think Akanksha has a question on data privacy. So Akanksha says that you've mentioned about one of your skills as data privacy. Can you elaborate a little bit about that, and how do you use that, or what is your role in data privacy? Right. And I think Karishma, I think you can also, to that you can add to how does your day typically look in Microsoft? I think that's another question one of our participants has put. I think you can answer these both at once. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me pick the privacy one first. I did one. So my team is big into privacy and security, because we own this big platform, largely scalable data distributed system. So security, privacy are the top priorities. And I was one of the product managers engaged with this privacy team, which released the GDPR related features 2 years ago as an important feature for Microsoft customers. And I did the data pipelining work and system design to release this feature, because GDPR was a very time sensitive feature. So I did that work with this team. It was more like an internal partner engagement. And that's when I got into this domain. And since then, I have been including that aspect in my subsequent feature developments.
Okay, so I think that involves a lot of stakeholder consultation, people management, and all those soft skills that you have mentioned in the presentation. Were there any particular challenges that you would want to highlight from your experience of being a product manager that one has to be prepped up about before they face an interview or before they consider getting into the product management roles? like some sort of challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis, which are consistent and which you think we should be preparing up?
Yeah, I mean, every day is a new challenge. You know, you learn something new. You have to make the trade-offs. You have to find the right balance. There are so many challenges related to managing expectations of people around you, managing changing requirements and schedules of the different stakeholder teams who are working with you. You know, managing the temperaments uh, of some, you know, hard to deal with the co-workers. So the normal job related challenges are there, but they also impact as a product manager, because that impacts the design and the delivery of your stuff. So uh, I would say uh, try to take less stress. It is again one of those easier said than done things, but the more you get stressed, the more you will lose focus, and the more you will lose the big picture. And having this big picture is a really sought after quality in a product manager.
Interesting. I think getting the big picture is is a great value that a product manager is supposed to have. Thanks for that, Karishma. Now we have another question for Nirja. Okay, this is an interesting question. So Nirja's question is about let's say I apply for a Microsoft PM role, but I have a specialization in other vendor technologies, let's say Google or Amazon. Is that a turn off from the hiring team perspective? And is there a location advantage? How important is it to be located near to the job position?
Very important. I mean, they will prefer local candidates first. I mean, anywhere you go, that's hard reality. Uh, Unless like you have really built your case and you are very willing to relocate, and I'm sure you are. But let's say in a place like San Jose, California, I mean, there are so many techies there. It gets filled up quickly because they already have people they can reach out to, and they can fill up the position in a week. So in that case, you can ask the recruiter right away, are you looking to fill it up immediately, or what is the time frame in their mind, because relocation will take time. You can clarify that right away. Even your visa process can take time. And what do you mean by vendor technologies? Like, why is that not why is that a barrier?
Nirja, are you there? I think you can clarify this.
I'm sorry. I was talking on mute. I'm currently studying like for the Google Cloud Platform, the GCP, but I know Microsoft is on Azure and Amazon has its own AWS platform. So how much would that impact? Because there are many roles for Microsoft which focuses on Azure platform. So I was kind of wondering on that.
I think that should actually work in your favor than against you. I mean, if you worked on Google Cloud or Amazon AWS, you have knowledge about the competitors, so you can sell it like, I know the market, I know what are the competitors doing in the industry. And you can what you can do is like come up with the ideas about how you will improve that for Microsoft if you're applying to Azure. What is something which AWS and Google Cloud doing which Azure is not? Find it out. I mean, I'm sure there are lots of differences. And research about it. And then, I mean, this will not come in your first call with the recruiter. First, you have to get yourself noticed. This will be probably used to convert your interview. Are you getting that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So use the competitor experience to your advantage.
Sure. Thanks.
Interesting. I think Nijir also posted another question. So his question is about, in order to show the technical skill set, what are the best options? I've heard that the side that comes from HR calls when they know that they're not using the technical skills during the regular job. I think you've answered this question, but specifically to this, I think even I had another question, Karishma. Are there platforms like Git and other platforms where you would want to highlight your portfolio of projects that you have worked on, that you would pull up during your interview sessions, and they would go through that and they would ask specific questions on that?
I don't think so, because these companies do want to take care that you don't reveal any confidential information. If there is a project which you worked on but is not publicly available yet, and you have to respect that. So I don't think companies ask specifically about, give me a write-up about every project you worked in a portfolio. It's up to you if you want to present it that way, but mostly it comes to, let's say in Amazon, they ask for some writing exercises, which is again to gauge your writing skills. In Microsoft, they don't even ask that. They directly take some rounds of phone interviews and then call you on site, and they will ask you some abstract questions or product design questions, and they'll give you an opportunity to share your past projects from your resume. So yeah, I mean, it's up to you. It's not a requirement.
Oh, interesting. Also that Karishma, we spoke of how a fresh grad should be able to get into these product management roles. I think there's another question in line to that. This is from Nupur. This is an interesting question. So Nupur is asking about, is it possible to apply on the job related to the academic project, even if that is not the main concentration of a student in the university? So I'm assuming that, can we highlight those projects which are not related to the concentration of the student that he has taken up in the university? Was that your question, Nupur, or?
Yeah, so you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
You did some projects, but that were not part of a major in your master's.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah, exactly. Like, not quite, but okay. So, like, I'm taking some of the courses which are related to my concentration, but in that courses, we are doing some of the academic projects. That is not my major concentration, but it includes in the civil engineering, but it is not exactly sustainable building system, which I'm doing here. So can I apply
Only
that?
Yeah, you should put them only if it adds up to your story about I am fit for this role because of this. And if it is not adding up to that sensible, coherent story, which gives an impression to the recruiter who is reviewing this resume, then it can be just like a dead weight there. Like that line in your resume just exists there, but it doesn't serve any purpose.
Okay. Yeah. Understood. Thanks.
Okay, we had a lot of discussion on data privacy, and I think there's another question on that, Karishma. So this is from Akanksha again. The question is about, what do you think about privacy certifications from IAPP? Do you think they can help me in my resume, and which one is more sought after? I have 1 year experience as a PM in privacy and 1 year in compliance and security.
That's good. I mean, if you have the experience, you may not even need the certification, but I have heard of IAPP, it's good. If you have presented some paper on them, like we have so many conferences like for security, RSA and all that, it's good. It's a good exposure there. I don't have any such certification. I mean, but I got a project on privacy to work upon. It's like, I mean, I would say like, if that job does not mention that you need IAPP, then you maybe don't need it. That's my point. They'll specify if there are certain certifications like PMP and all that. They'll specify that these are our requirements. Otherwise, it's fine. It's up to you. If you want to learn, yes, go for it. I mean, good to learn. It will keep you up to date about the industry domain knowledge. Otherwise, it should not be a barrier to get into the door.
So my follow-up question here would be, like, which one would you suggest if I have to do, PMP or one of the IAPP certifications, like just in terms of gaining more knowledge and like career growth and getting more interview calls, like from top 10 or top 20 companies?
So here's a career decision that you have to make. Do you want to be an expert in privacy, and do you see your future long term as a privacy expert, be it a PM role in any company? Or do you see yourself as a generic PM who is more interested into solving a kind of problem, regardless it is in privacy or not? I mean, and there is a third option. You are a PM in privacy, and that's a very niche area, but it's the best of both, right? So if you have clarity there as a career choice, then you'll figure out what is a gap here, and you can close that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I think, I mean, those are the bunch of questions that we had. Akanksha, I mean, to Karishma also, specifically to Karishma, I'm sorry. On the certifications point, like how much of a value addition is it to put down these, the list of certification that person has done, independent of they being asked in the product, the job description or not? And what sort of a certifications that a person applying for product management would, it would be value addition to him or her?
Yeah, I mean, I am not aware of any product management certification. Maybe there is. It's just that I didn't use one. I am aware of the PMP certification, which is more about project management, and that will be like a subset of a part of the product management work. Again, job to job, it varies. Go for the other courses as well, and not just certifications, right? You have Product School and Coursera, and there are some online forums out there where you can connect with the product managers who are right now in the industry. So top of my head, I remember Product School because that is quite happening in Seattle and even in California. It must be in other cities and states as well. So check it out, like check out their workshops and events. And I think they have Product Con happening in near future. It is a big conference of product managers. You can attend it if you have the sponsorship from your university or your company.
Okay, I think with that we are wrapping up the
Hey,
question
Carrie,
section of the.
This is Nirchar. I just don't want to step on your toes. Since we are talking about the PMP certification, I actually did the certification, and I just want to give 2 cents about that. If you're looking for like project management roles or any team lead roles, those are very important. Sometimes if there are like major company resizing or layoffs, it's my experience till now that it does matter if you have a PMP certification or not. Like, I don't know why here in US companies prefer the certifications. It also helps to go to the interview room as well. I think maybe because the HR managers think it's a safe thing to have those certifications, but that is how the industry works. Like if you're into project management or team lead role, they would always prefer a PMP over a non-PMP. I mean,
Karishma, just have to caution you that we are past our time. So
I mean, that's pretty much it from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Niger. But Karishma, I'm just worried that we are past our time. Can you just answer that briefly?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I hope it never comes to that we have to pick. It's a very hard choice when you have to pick. Like they are usually very conservative. They'll go for the most top performing individuals in any company. So that's what, like, the certifications will give you a competitive edge even in recruitment. If like everything is similar and they find, oh, this guy is officially certified and this guy is just self-taught, then depends on the recruiter. Like company like Google will be open, like, because they have their own process of vetting the applicants. whatever certificate you have, So that's what.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. I think you still would have a bunch of questions, but we couldn't accommodate all of those. But for now, this is the end of the questionnaire section. But please do reach out to us, write to us. You could follow us on LinkedIn or Facebook. And also we'll be sharing this tech with you, but only if you're able to get the feedback from you on how can we improve, and if there are a bunch of suggestions that you would want to make to us. Right. And
yeah, we're actually going to email
plans?
those to you.
Yeah, please go on.
Yeah,
Apurva, please go on.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to you, I think we're going to email the survey. We will share the slide deck, but once we get that survey and by the end of the week, we plan to share it.
Yeah. Please do participate in the survey. I think it will be of great importance to us and value to us to work on our further sessions that we would come up in the next few weeks. And follow us to know about the further sessions that we're going to host soon. And I think we are inviting guests from a bunch of different positions and sectors across the US. And please spread the message to your friends as well if you think this was meaningful and helpful to you. And thanks a lot, guys, for your active participation. And thanks, Karishma. Thanks a lot for those insights. And I'm not from technical background, but I think this was quite insightful, even for a person who's not from the technical background. Thanks for your